right, tonight's bedtime story is Good Night Moon by Margaret Wise Brown. Pictures by Clement Hurd. Good Night Moon. In the great green room, there was a telephone. There's a telephone. And a red balloon. There's the red balloon. And a picture of the cow jumping over the moon. There's the cow, and he's jumping over the moon. The moon, it's a crescent moon. And there were 3 little bears sitting on chairs. 1, 2, 3 bears. And they're all sitting on chairs. And 2 little kittens. 1 and 2. There are our kittens. And a pair of mittens. There's our pair of mittens. And a comb and a brush. There's our comb and there's our brush. On the brush, it reads Bunny, B-U-N-N-Y, Bunny. And a bowl full of mush. And there's our bowl full of mush. And a quiet old lady who was whispering, hush. There's our quiet old lady. She's sitting in her rocking chair and she's knitting. Good night, room. And look at our room. So in our room we have a dollhouse. There's our old lady. There's a doll on the bookshelf and a giraffe. You have a pair of socks, a pair of mittens. There's a fire going. You have the cats playing with the yarn. And there's a little tiny mouse in the middle of the room. And it looks like a little boy or little girl laying in their bed. You have your telephone and your clock and your balloon. Looks like they're getting ready for bed. Good night, moon. There's our moon. Good night, cow jumping over the moon. There's a cow jumping over our crescent moon. Good night, light and red. And the red balloon. So the light is going out. As you see, it's getting dark. And we're saying goodnight to our red balloon. Good night, bears. You see the bears in the picture? And the child right here. He's saying goodnight, or she's saying goodnight. Good night, bears. Good night, chairs. Good night, kittens. There's our 1 and 2 kittens. And good night, mittens. There's our mittens. Good night, clocks. And good night, socks. So there's our clock and our socks. Good night, little house. And good night, mouse. Remember our little mouse in the middle of the room? Good night, comb. And good night, brush. There's our comb and our brush that has B-U-N-N-Y on it. And what does that spell? bunny. Good night, nobody. And there's the page, it's blank. There's no one there. Good night, mush. And there's our bowl of mush. It's probably some cereal. And good night to the old lady whispering hush. She's saying hush, be quiet, it's time to go to bed. Good night, stars. There are all the stars. There are a lot of stars in this picture. Good night, air. Good night, noises everywhere. It looks like everybody's asleep. You have the two cats who are sleeping in the chair. You have the mouse that's sitting in the windowsill. And then you have the child who's laying in their bed, falling fast asleep. The end.